Today's episode is number 336, and we're diving into why there's just not much selling right now to help you generate more business in this slow spring market. We're halfway through May. Let's be real, this spring market, not what most people hope for. Some markets are moving, but most not so much, and properties, well, they seem to be sitting. Offers seem to be slow, and deals are just dragging behind. People aren't making the offers. Money's hard to come by. And agents? They're just getting frustrated. I'm hearing it everywhere. Because the money isn't flowing like it should be. Things are just taking too long. I mean, buyers want to move, but they're hesitant. Sellers want the moon, but the market won't give it to them. Plus, I just came back from TRREB, the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board's Realtor Quest Conference trade show. Big crowd, low quality. Reminding me that volume means nothing if there's no value. So in this episode, not ranting. I mean, maybe I am. But really I'm not. Instead, we're resetting. So I want to talk to you about how to lead in a slower market, how to keep moving when the market won't, and how the best agents are still creating momentum even when it feels like everybody else is stuck. So let's get into this together because, as always, there's a bunch to share. And yes, as you've probably noticed by now, once again, this is the hat trick 3 weeks in a row. Just you and me. Now, we'll address that a little bit. I'll circle back to the big question I asked you about the podcast last time. But first, let's do a little reality check here. Okay? Because it's literally the middle of May. In fact, we're coming to the end of May. Like, what? Didn't we just do New Year's? How is time flying so quickly? But, look, the market right now, we thought that we were going to have an incredible spring market. We thought that it was just going to be popping off everywhere. Deals were going to be flowing. Everybody had that optimism coming off of everything else we came off of over the past few months. Rougher winter for most regions, most areas in this wonderful country of ours. But look, here's what I'm hearing all over the place right now, okay? I'm hearing from a lot of agents that, I've got listings, but nothing's really selling. And in fact, I know a lot of agents that have a lot of listings, under contract right now. But nothing's really moving at the pace that they want it to move at. Now, a bunch of other people have got buyers. But those buyers don't really want to commit right now for the most part because they're waiting out to see what happens with interest rates, waiting to see what happens with all the fallout of what happened with that federal election a few weeks ago. There's just a lot of holding, waiting to see maybe things are going to come down. Maybe it's going to get better. And then we're hearing from a lot of people, I'm doing a lot of work, I'm doing a lot of running, but the deals aren't getting done. And I mean, you could just say like that equates to we're just not getting paid. I'm hearing it everywhere. It's actually a very common theme right now, which is really interesting. I mean, look, I guess there's not much to read more into that, just to say that the market, again, just didn't pick up the way people thought it would. And look, if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, actually, I'm crushing it right now. I'm doing tons of deals. Like, are you actually closing those deals? And if you're nodding your head saying yes, then I'm going to tell you, hey, you should feel damn good about yourself. Like, look yourself in the mirror and just say, I am grateful. Even if you're just doing, you're closing deals, but maybe not the volume of deals you'd hope for. You've got to recognize that right now. I can't tell you how many people aren't. And it's funny, too, because when you ask somebody, you're like, how is it out there? And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm real busy. And we talked about busy versus productive, right? The differences of that. We talked about that last time, but it's like, I'm real busy. And you sit there going, okay, so you got a bunch of deals. Yeah, I got a bunch of listings. But when you really have the conversation, you start to dive in deeper. You're like, so are they moving? Well, and all of a sudden you get the reality check of like, what is moving? What's not moving? How long it's taking to get deals done? Speaking to a guy at the gym the other day, and he was talking to me about, how he's got some buyers, in the hopper. And, as we started talking further and talking about listings, talking about buyers, like all that stuff. It was like, yeah, getting listings, but some of them are actually getting canceled because people just have unrealistic expectations around what their price is worth, their house. So I have to let some people go. Or some buyers just can't get the finance that they thought they could get. So look, what we really need to, it's just a fact, but this market isn't hot. But it doesn't mean that it's hopeless. Here, think about this one. You cannot control velocity, how fast things are moving. But you can control visibility. You can control your consistency. You can control how much mind share you build out there. And mind share equals market share. And that is all on you. We have full control over that. And we know that if we build the mind share and we are consistent at doing so, that we will be more visible. And for those that are looking to do something right now, they probably will turn to us. And for those that aren't doing anything right now but might be doing something in the future, again, they'll turn to us because we remain visible. So to sit back and think, well, hey, hold on a second, market's not doing well. We don't want to spend all sorts of money. Some of the biggest companies in the world have disappeared overnight almost because in tough times they decide to stop being visible. You never heard of them again. But those who weather the storm, those who are able to move through it and navigate this different market right now, it'll serve you well down the road, because to think this is doom and gloom, it's never coming back to positivity. Of course it's going to come back to positivity. Of course it's going to come back to good times. The question is, what are you doing right now to make sure that that's going to happen? Look, there's some truths here. Real simple. Buyers do want to buy. They're just really nervous about what's going on out there. They're really nervous about, am I buying at the right time? Am I going to overpay? Am I going to get a mortgage that, where I'm paying too much in interest? They're nervous. And rightfully so. Everything from gasoline to coffee to a head of lettuce to your daily kind of groceries. Daily, I say. Feels like my wife goes daily. Honestly, seriously, like every single day there's another, grocery shopping day. But I get it. I'm just having some fun here. But it's crazy though. You look at the bills, you look at the cost of all that, you can't walk out of the grocery store for less than $100. And that's not like you did a full grocery shop, and that's like you got to go back again almost the next day. Sorry if you hear the little slurp, that's me taking a sip of my coffee, but you should know that now. So look, it's normal for the buyers to be nervous. And sellers, we know there's a lot of them that want to sell. In fact, there are a lot of sellers that need to sell. They need to. But are you finding them? Are you having conversations with them? Are you connecting with them? See, they need to sell, but they want to price it properly, and they want to price it properly in their minds. They want to price it properly to what the market was doing a couple of years ago. But that's our job. We've got to educate them and let them know what's going on. And we'll talk more to things that we can do here, but it's like, what does that mean to price it correctly? And you might be, oh, well, according to the market. Well, and I know, but do they know? And of course, again, we come back to the agents, and I just talked about that, but I really have to press on this to all of you, every single one of you, whether you're working hard, whether you're not, whether you're, listening to this show looking for answers, which I thank you, by the way, I really do. Sitting around and waiting just for things to get better. I don't know. It doesn't sound like a strategy to me. It doesn't seem like the most effective way to do things. In fact, I think it just puts you further back. All the procrastination about making the call, but I don't want to make the call. Having the conversations, but nobody's buying or nobody's selling. Okay, doesn't mean stop. Look, what we need to understand I understand this, and I got to tell you I understand this, and this podcast is proof that I understand this. Your clients, your audience, just like at this moment, and again, a big thank you when I say this, you are my audience. People are looking for leadership, not luck. They're looking for guidance. They're looking for strategy. They're looking for insights. They're looking for education. They're looking for answers. And right now, most of you aren't giving them either. Now, again, I say most because I want you to be that person who's sitting there right now going, oh, yes, I am, Dave. Good. You know I'm saying good, and you know I'm backing you up 1,000,000%. You know that's exactly what I want you to do. What I'm doing is I'm calling out the other ones who are not, and I'm trying to light a fire under your ass right now to say, hey, don't be that person. Because that's what most people do. They sit around and they wait. They sit around and they bitch and complain. They sit around and they talk about the negativity. They don't shine a positive light on things. They don't provide solutions. They don't provide answers. They just wait. And then they try to battle on commission to get the deal. It's so much bigger than that one number. You've got to figure out a way right now in your conversations, consistent communication, to provide leadership, to give people an ear to talk to, a shoulder to lean on, somebody that can guide them, but in a very casual setting, as opposed to sitting down and going, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to have a big meeting with a financial advisor and they're going to talk to me about all the different things I got to do with my money. Look, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But oftentimes those bare, blunt, raw, open, honest, conversations, not pretentious, not somebody's trying to sell you something, not, we don't really know each other. But oftentimes when you have those conversations with people, it opens up the opportunity to ask more questions from both sides, which provides more substance to the conversation, more to discuss, and helps us really figure out what is and maybe what isn't impacting people or their decisions. But you got to give them that. This is where your IPAs come in, your income-producing activities. But in fact, let's move even more tactical on that, okay? I want to give you a few moves here. Say maybe like maybe five moves to make when the market is slow. Okay, and these are tactical plays that you need to be focused on right now. This is the type of stuff that you want to leverage in the conversations you have with people. This is the type of stuff you want to do to work on your business. This is the type of stuff you want to do when markets are not kicking the way you want them to be kicking and you were looking for answers, looking to say, hey, I want to make more money. First one here, number one. Reset those pricing expectations. Stop. For the love of everything, for your own sanity, for your own brand, your brand image, what people see of you, think of your business, for yourself, for your time, for your money, for your family. Reset the expectations around price. Stop letting your clients lead the strategy. You have to show them the truth. They have to understand their house is not worth what it was worth 2 and 3 years ago. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they think. It's all subjective. Pull out the CMAs, do the comps, ask the questions, dig for why. So, what do you think your house is worth? Oh, I think it's worth this. Well, tell me more. Why do you think it's worth that? Well, because of this and this and this and this and this and this. Tell me more about that. Why do you think that is the way? Really, and are you paying attention to what's going on with the market? You are. Okay, so why do you think your house is still worth that same number? See, dig and dig and dig and make the person on the other end realize they may just be wrong. Give them that light bulb moment. It's not about pointing fingers, you're right, they're wrong. It's about a reality check. It's about going through and showing them what the comparables look like and making them understand what's happening out there in the market and how long things are taking to move and what happens when you price it incorrectly. We have to have those conversations. And if you're scared to have that conversation with somebody, you're not the right agent for that person. If they are way off on their evaluation of their home and they want you to list it at that price, you and I both know it's going to cause you more headache than you need. You're not going to get the showings. You're not going to get the offers. Your colleague's going to look at you and wonder why. Then the listing is going to, well, the seller's going to look at you and say, why aren't you doing your job? Why aren't you selling my house? And now they're not going to tell people that you're amazing. They're going to tell people that you sucked. Or the listing's just going to expire and they're going to go find somebody else. And all the money that you poured in, maybe on staging or inspections or virtual tours and the marketing, everything, down the drain. Doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense. So we need to reset the pricing expectations. You have to have that conversation with your sellers. The second one here, get that database living and breathing. Go back, 12, maybe 24 months. And look, everybody's always searching for more leads. I want to find more opportunities. But the opportunities you get today don't necessarily turn into a deal today, right? They may turn into a deal tomorrow. They may turn into a deal in 30, 60, 90 days. It could take 3, 6, 9 months. It could take 3, 6, 9 years. It could take a decade. It could not happen. So I'm always a big advocate of meet one new person a day, every single day. That's 365 new opportunities in a year. Do it. But remember something. That person's not closing that day. So you always want to think to yourself, again, what am I doing with my follow-up? What am I doing to stay in touch? What am I doing to think, I've had this conversation with somebody. We had the convo. They were interested, but they never really pulled the trigger. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they weren't ready back then. Maybe they're ready now. Let's go back. So go back. Go back 12 to 24 months, 1 to 2 years. Look at the old leads that you've got. And again, if you're coaching with me, you and I both know we operate with the bulletproof follow-up strategy. There is no old leads. Everybody goes in the database and everybody gets stayed in touch with in that, again, strategy that we implement through the 10-year plan. We're always in touch with people, no matter what. Maybe different frequencies because there's different people and they got different needs and different timelines. But you and I both know we got a strategy that kicks ass that makes sure that we're in touch with everybody at all times. So we never actually have people that are like old leads, people that are like, dead leads. We don't let them die. At some point, they're going to make a move. Now, if they happen to die before they make the move, maybe your chances are a little bit limited. But anyways, you get my point here. So the thing, what I'm trying to say here is number 2 is go back to your database, okay? Again, if you're following the 10-year plan, we know that we're focused on it, so I'm gonna kick your butt and say, hey, consistency, don't stop. I don't care how you feel today. Make your calls. Do the text message. Connect with people through a DM on social media. And for those of you, though, that let people kind of hang in the database and you think to yourself, they didn't do anything, I'm just not going to call them, or they went and did, they told me they're not interested anymore. Hey, those are old leads. Think about your expired conversations. They're more ready now than they might have been a year to 2 years ago. Go back and call those people. Have a conversation with those people. Hey, George, it's David. I called you about 2 years ago when you were interested in, I randomly called you because I got you as an online lead that I paid a shit ton of money for. And, well, you don't have to worry about all that stuff. But anyhow, George, just wondering if you're still looking to make a move. Now, if you waited 2 years, you might hear George say, hey, we've already made the move, you idiot. You waited too long. But at the same time, too, if you do wait too long, or maybe you haven't had that conversation, George might even say to you, I don't remember who you are. Well, it's okay. Have you made a move? No, we haven't. Are you still thinking about it? Have you thought about it recently? Well, we still are, but we're just not sure if it's the right time. Wonderful. Let's have a conversation. And now you go into question asking mode. But go back and revive those people. Go back and have those conversations with those people. Do not think because they didn't do something in the moment that you got their name, or the first time you had a conversation, door knock, cold call, lead, whatever, referral even. Do not think just because they weren't ready then that they're not ready now. It's huge. You got people there. You've already got a phone number. You got an email. You've got a way to contact. Why wouldn't you? Number 3, and I tell you this one often, and in fact, I sort of alluded to it as we started the show, and I said I'll come back to that. But in those conversations you have with people, educate with purpose. Talk to the people, whether the people we just talked about that are old leads and these expired combos, and or people that are in your database that you know well. Either way you slice it. Send them the market updates. Speak to them in normal language. Don't confuse the shit out of them with all these rates and interest rates and market updates and caps and blah, blah, blah and all. Be simple. And that's what I go back to, that if you know these people, you can have that conversation in a real way. Whether it's video or voice, you're just doing it in normal language, the way you speak with that person. Don't overcomplicate this shit with charts and headlines and all this other stuff. Like, speak to people in just normally. And that comes back to having the conversation. Going back and touching base with the people in the database, doing your forward calls sometimes where you're just finding out about the family and work and what they're up to this summer and if they're going anywhere big. Random convo. Sports, whatever. Stuff that you've got a like-mindedness with each other in. And then every so often, we know we're making that business phone call. And in this case, that's exactly where to lead. Hey, it's David calling with ABC Realty. And hopefully they already know who you are because you're doing such a great job keeping in touch. So instead of doing a big formal introduction, they already know you. Hey, Dave, how's it going? Oh, it's going amazing. Listen, business call today. Okay, cool. What's up? Look, lots going on in the market. A lot of talk about where the real estate industry's at. A lot of people wondering if right now is the right time to buy or sell. Just curious, have you got any questions? Have you thought about it at all? Oh, no, we're real happy in our home right now. We're not looking to make a move. That's okay. You've been paying attention to the real estate market at all? Well, here and there. Okay, you know what's going on with prices, like maybe even with your house? Well, yeah, I think, maybe we're up a little bit. Ooh, up a little bit. From when? Well, from, just the past few years. Well, no. Actually, why would you think that? See, what I'm doing there is I'm again, just a lighthearted little role play, but the point is we're just making casual conversation. And then as we're having that conversation, we're asking a lot of questions and we're digging deeper. We're just digging. We're just asking why. Oh, yeah, tell me more. Oh, how do you think that? But we're picking up and we're using our active listening skills. And then we're mirroring, right? So they say something, we use a few of their words, we sort of repeat them back with a little bit of question mark at the end to get them speaking more. And as we do that, they're sharing with us, they're sharing more information about where their head is at, what they think, what they feel, what they believe. And we're asking more. And within all of that conversation, we may just find an open door that goes, hey, let's talk further about that. It's the same way where, this individual might have said, oh, yeah, we're up. Up from when? I mean, what kind of timelines you working on? Oh, past few years. Really? And instead of me telling them they're wrong, why do you think that? But it gives us the opportunity to let them know, in fact, we're not up right now. In fact, we're down. But what this also does, and now you present the opportunity. And it's little conversations like that that start to create that spark in somebody's mind. Because if they were thinking about it, now's the time to talk to them. If they weren't thinking about it, now may be the time to talk to them. Because through that conversation, they may just start thinking about it. And this is how you not only generate new opportunities, like new leads. This is how you turn these people that you've got into actual opportunities, into actual potential deals. Like, yeah, you know what? Let's talk further. Maybe it's a good time to list, or maybe it's a good time to go buy something. We've been thinking about a second property or investment property, a cottage property, whatever it is. So through your education, through your discipline to making that phone call and having that conversation and just probing with people, and don't get me wrong, by the way. First of all, let me finish that thought. Your discipline in doing that is going to create more opportunity. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's going to be a lot of people who tell you, no, I'm not interested in speaking. You're going to leave a lot of voicemails. You're going to text someone who's not going to call you back. I get it. But like I said a moment ago, discipline, consistency, keep doing it. Because the more you do it, the more opportunity you're creating for yourself. So educate with purpose. The fourth move here that I recommend is what we'll look at it like what the big brands do. And I'm talking the big brands beyond even real estate, okay? But let's label this one as like offering micro campaigns. So something like a May move up challenge or a summer buyer plan. Anything that adds urgency and helps people focus. Like if I come back and I say about the big brands, and you think about when it comes holiday season, they're always leveraging like back to school, right? Back to school is a great one because they say, hey, in about July, they'll start with back to school, getting people into the mindset of shopping for school. And we kind of have this deadline of like, when the kids go back in the first week of September, let's call it, like they're back. That's it. Sales are done. Maybe for a couple more weeks they're on, but then they finish. Point is there's this timeline to what's going on with that. And the big brands are using that as part of their brand messaging, as part of their advertising. So they're creating a moment in time. They're creating that moment through the messaging of their marketing. And what that does now is that creates a timeline in people's minds. And when people have a timeline, they react. We react differently to it. See, if you think you got all the time in the world, you're going to take all the time in the world. But if you realize that there's a deadline for it, you're going to act before that deadline kicks in. Caveat to that, I know you're a realtor, and most realtors don't seem to operate on timelines. But if you do, and if you're coaching with me, you know you do. Because operating the time and making time manage you is the best way to get everything you want to get done in life. It's the best way to achieve what you want in life. Timelines work. They work for all of us. You think about anything you do in life. Every time there's a deadline, you know the deadline is there. Again, realtor. Mostly me missing those deadlines. Again, I'm poking fun. I know there's a lot of amazing realtors out there. I love you guys. This is my sandbox too. Okay? All right. So you get it though, offering micro campaigns, like doing what the big brands do and creating that sense of, again, time. Okay, like I said a moment ago, May Move Up Challenge. We're maybe it's the month of May. Maybe it runs from mid-April to mid-June. But by thinking through your marketing and your messaging that goes out in your newsletter, that goes out in your social, that goes out in the conversations, you can start to add a little bit of urgency for people. You can start to get them to hone in and focus in on this idea of making a move. It's psychology. It's human nature. It's the way we operate. And the fifth point that I'm going to give you here, okay, the fifth move that I want you to make right now, as the market is slow, is to fix your visibility. Okay, go back and do an audit and ask yourself, how often am I calling that person? How many emails am I sending to that person? How many pieces of mail am I sending to that person? How often am I on my social media? Can they see me? You see, if you're not in their feed, if you're not in their inbox, if you're not in their ears, they don't know you. Or they did, but now you're forgotten. They're moving on to somebody else. There's another flavor of the day. It's what's trending today. Shit, our world works on what's trending. Go to Twitter, X, whatever they call it these days, right? Trending. You got to find music on Instagram for a reel. Trending. You see people doing videos, dancing videos, or funny videos, or whatever. Why? Because it's trending. Everybody's doing the same shit. Most recent one was like people turning themselves into like an action figure or like a doll or something in a box. Everybody's got to do it now. Look at me. Look, everybody else did it. I'm going to do it too. And if you did it and you hear me saying this and you're like, oh man, he's poking fun at me. Yeah, I am. Like, why are you doing everything else? Why are you doing everything everybody else is doing? It's like, it's funny. I'm going to do it too. Oh, ha, ha, ha. That's funny. Stand out. Do something different. Be different. Don't just do the same shit everybody else is doing. But seriously, audit your marketing. Audit the channels that you're using, the frequency, the consistency. If you're not doing that, people will not hear from you often. Somebody else will be an up-and-comer. Somebody else will steal that spotlight. Somebody else will get in their head. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be constant. They got to know you're there. And you know, yes, there's the mix between personal and business, but across our passive touch points such as mail, email, social, there's got to be an element of business incorporated into that. And of course, each one has its different ratios. Like if we're talking social, we're still on that 80-20 where we want to see more personal than business, but we've got to see the business. When we see the email, I'm going to tell you, it's more like a 95-5. I mean, hell, I'd argue you could be all business in that. But that's where the active touch points come from. When you make the phone call, do the text, see the people, you want to make sure you're not business. You want to make sure your relationship. By taking the right notes in your proper follow-up system, which again, all of my coaching clients, you know what I'm talking about here. We go through the exact bulletproof process. You take those notes, you'll know exactly where to jump off the next time with that person. And now you got the right blend between business and personal. You're building the relationship. You're getting to know you. You're getting to like you. And you have earned the trust you. And that trust you is what leads to the opportunity of getting the deal. So, quick little review here as we say 5 moves that I really believe that you need to be making right now. These tactical plays that you should be focused on. 1, reset those price expectations. Have the conversation. 2, revive your database. Go back and think to yourself, who haven't I been in touch with in a long time? And if you're in that situation, you need more help with when you think about your follow-up system, you need to get in touch with me so I can teach you exactly what you should be doing to work easier, spend less money, and make a whole lot more. Okay, so step 2 is revive your database, and step 2.5, A, B, C, and D was call me so I can help you. But step 3 here, educate with purpose. Okay, talk to people about what's going on. Step 4, think about the big brands. Think about timelines. Think about urgency. Offer micro campaigns. So it's a spin on your branding. It's a spin on your marketing message. And number 5 was fix your visibility. Again, looking and doing an audit based on the different channels you're using to check how consistent you are, to check what your messaging is, to ensure that you're getting the visibility that you need so you're never getting forgotten. Now, I just came back from Realtor Quest, and it's put on by the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. It's a big event. There's a ton of foot traffic. But I'll be honest, the audience wasn't what I had hoped for. And every year we're seeing more and more of that, right? This was a reminder that exposure without alignment, it's a complete waste of time. In fact, it brings me back to the bigger question around licensing and how simple it is to become a realtor. I mean, seriously, people could become like a truck driver in the same amount of time for the same amount of money. Put that shit in perspective. That's a scary thought. Now, the smarter ones, yeah, sure, the smarter ones chose real estate over truck driving, even though many of them can't do either anyways. I mean, they're a danger to people around them. But is it their fault? Or is it the fault of the system? I'd argue both are responsible. But I'm going to say my primary concern, it is the real estate industry. See, if it was up to me, instead of saying to people, hey, you want to be a realtor? Yeah. Why? I want to make a lot of money. Okay. Or I love houses. Yeah. You're already going down the wrong road here. But if it was up to me and somebody wanted to get their real estate license, instead of saying, hey, it's going to cost you, $5,000 and a year of studying where you'll take 3 courses and you've got to pass with a certain percentage. And instead of just teaching people about how to fill out forms and how to be compliant and different things that they don't need to know until they actually get licensed, I would start off the whole thing in a different light. Because what's happening right now is people go in, they basically study a textbook, and if they're book smart people, they go in, they write an exam, and as long as they get a passing grade, it's still over 76% you have to get to pass, they can move on to the next phase and keep studying and then do well on an exam again and eventually get their real estate license. But did anybody check if these people could actually be a realtor? Like, did they actually have the business skills and the sales skills and the marketing skills? Shit, did anybody check that the person writing the damn exam is the same person that actually signed up to get the license? Oh, and if you're sitting there thinking, oh, that's not possible. Oh, yes, it is. There are all sorts of people writing exams for people, and that's not even the person getting the license. These people are cheating. So many of these people cheat their way through with like different hacks and different, people that have like access to, exams or give them the answers. Like, there's so much bullshit that it's just not right in the way we hand out these licenses. Now, I could go on and on and on about that, but I know what you're asking there is, so Dave, what would you do different? Well, real simple. Somebody wants to be a realtor, I'll tell them no problem. Today is, random Monday. Great. Wednesday at 7 p.m., I want you to be at 123 Andover Street with your listing presentation. We'll see you then. Bye. They got the address. They know the time. They know what they got to do. Now do it. Ah, but Dave, they don't know how to do a listing presentation. Oh, right. So they won't be prepared is what you're telling me. Yeah, what would they do? How would they know? Oh, I don't know. Maybe this thing called Google or ChatGPT. Figure that shit out. I don't care if you've never done a listing presentation before. Show up to 123 Andover Street. Come prepared. Come on time. In fact, come ahead of time and give me the most half-assed listing presentation you've ever done. But show me that you understand what it means to show the fuck up. It's a big difference, isn't it? It's a big difference to somebody who shows up late. Somebody who shows up and says, I passed my exam. No. I need to understand that you know how to market and negotiate and manage the most, the most important, most expensive, biggest asset of my entire life. I need somebody legit. Now, if that person shows up to that listing presentation at 7 p.m. on that Wednesday, dressed ready, dressed properly, ready on time, and all that good stuff, and I look at that person, I think, listing presentation was okay, but you know what? They tried. They put in the effort. They showed up properly. In my mind, hey, great, you got the listing. Now I want you to come back on Friday at 6 p.m. and I want you to show me your marketing plan. Come back on Friday. Put together a marketing plan. I can see how they're going to list the property. See, what I'm starting to smell here is I got somebody hungry. I got somebody who's willing to figure shit out. I got somebody who's looking professional. I got somebody who's willing to go out there and hustle to get this thing moving. Hey, beautiful. Now I start to see this person has the right skills to be in this business. As we progress through this licensing strategy that I'm sharing, which I've started in a whole different way than they do now, then eventually we will get to compliance and forms and all that other stuff. But I got to figure out whether I got a salesperson, a business person, a negotiator, a marketer, because that's the type of person that needs to be in this industry. Not some bookworm, book-smart individual who gets 110% on an exam because they know how to write exams well. Because most of those salespeople that are kick-ass salespeople, those hustlers, those go-getters out there in this industry, they weren't the 110% on the exam person. They just weren't. Look, this is a bigger problem around, the whole idea of organized real estate. I would say it seems that the associations, all of them, are becoming way too big for themselves. Everybody's getting paid, everybody's making money, everybody's happy, everybody's got this job, and now everybody's got an assistant, and everybody's got 3 layers below them, so it's even harder to move people out of those jobs. There's all sorts of money flowing around everywhere, and people are making money. The question is it helpful to the industry? Is it really, really helping the bottom line, or is it helping the people that are benefiting? Fees and dues being spent in the wrong places. I mean, much like our federal government and the way the world seems to spin these days, everybody has a problem with small things, but the big things go without consequence. Any types of issues we've got. It's we've got to make big changes. Nobody really wants to hear about it. It's easier to say, yeah, we're going to have meetings. We're going to talk about things. Everybody's going to go away and do. Nobody's actually going to do. And then we're going to come back and nothing got done. Now, sticking to the show specifically, though, when it comes to how we build our business, we need to be more intentional with where we show up and who we show up for. And as I come back to this show, just walking a trade show floor for hours on end with no rhyme or reason does not serve your purpose when it comes to doing more deals. In fact, if you were at that show, maybe you weren't at that show because you don't even live in Toronto. And again, I love the fact that you tune into the show, the Mindshare podcast. But maybe you weren't at Realtor Quest with us. Maybe you were. Okay? If you found something at that show or at any show or in a meeting or at an event, whatever, that you feel could help your business, then be sure to do, these things, okay? Number one, check your budget. Does it fit the budget? Can you support this thing that you want to bring on? Number two, ask yourself, and again, from a budget perspective, by the way, and I got to put this plug in there. When it comes to, again, coaching with us, we set out an entire marketing budget with an entire marketing plan. And again, for those of you that are coaching with me, this is a reminder to you that if you're going to bring something else on, whatever it be, and you're not sharing it with me just yet, and you just think it's going to be helpful, one, I do want to hear about it. Two, be sure to get into that marketing plan, that Model T that we've done together. And for those of you that aren't coaching with me, understand that every time you're about to spend money on something, I want to know about it. And not just know about it because I need to know. Because I want to strategize with you. I want to make sure it's the right fit for you. I want to make sure it's the right way to spend our money. I want to see things and help you see things that maybe you're not seeing. I want to bring out the logical conversation with you to make sure it's the right move. Because the more money we spend, the more money we got to make, and the more money we got to make, the more we stress because the harder we got to work. And it's just this vicious cycle sometimes, and we do it to ourselves. So check the budget. Number two, ask yourself, this thing you want to do, is it just a Band-Aid fix? Is it a bright, shiny object? Or is this an actual long-term play for your business? We've got to look at timelines. Number three, when are you going to implement whatever it is? So, this is a great idea. Yeah, learn about this thing. I'm going to do some research. I found out. I like it. I was looking for it. Whatever. Okay, great. Give me a timeline. We talked about that a few minutes ago. Timeline. When? Make a decision. This way we're not that bookworm who's constantly not actually doing anything. Number four, if you need help, ask. Too much ego out there, too many know-it-alls out there, too few people seeking out the help, the advice, the coaching that they need. Just do it. Just ask. You're going to thank yourself. I was driving down the street last night. I was riding, actually. I was on the bike. So when I'm on the bike, I get these wicked thoughts, and your mind goes into a million different places. You're going, through the roads and through the valleys and ups and downs and just taking the turns. And it was cold, but the skies were beautiful. I was having this thought. It's like, how do I, I have these logical conversations with people. That's what we do on a regular basis. Very logical, very strategic. Always got action steps. But how do I tell the world that, I'm here to have a logical conversation with you? And what impact's that going to make to the person hearing that? And taking the opportunity right now to share that with you, you're on the other end of the phone or the table or whatever, and you're having these thoughts about your business and you and your life, and you're trying to figure out what makes sense. And, you could talk to a mirror. You could talk to your phone on selfie mode. You could talk to your partner. You could talk to your friends. You could talk to your family members. Absolutely. And everybody's going to give you an opinion. The one thing about talking to a coach, and the one thing I'll say specifically talking to me, is my opinion is there for your best interest, but I'm not there to tell you what you want to hear. I'm there to help you see, what you need to hear. So if it doesn't make sense, I'm going to tell you that. If we need to figure out more ideas, I'm going to tell you that. And you don't need to ask me to do that. That's what we do. I'm your sounding board. I'm there to do strategy with you. I'm there to help you get to where you want to go. Now, that's me. There's other coaches out there that probably would say the same. There's other coaches beyond that might not do, they might do differently. Whatever. Point is, we got to speak to people. You need to ask for help. Don't let ego and bravado stand in the way of what your success could look like. The best of the best of the best in the world have help. You will thank yourself. Stop waiting and just do it. And number 5 here, don't pick what's popular. Pick what's going to work for you. It's not about having what everybody else has. This is about what's doing best for you and your business long term. Please understand that. People at the show the other day, I'm looking for a CRM, and I think everybody's using that one. Oh, so you should just go do what everybody else is doing. That's going to make you stand out. And hell, we don't even know why they're using it, but fuck, you know what? They're using it. Let's go do that. Bah. Fucking sheep. Sorry, I know I'm hard-hitting right now. I apologize. I love you. I really do. Some of you. Look, there's realities here, okay, people? Like, seriously. Doing what everybody else does doesn't make you stand out. It just makes you the same as everybody else. And in my keynote that I did at that event, we talked about what's trending right now, what's actually working for people to generate more dollars, more success, really, really take advantage of this market. And one of the things I talked about was branding. Okay, and that brand voice and what people get when they see your marketing, what people get when they see you, what people get when they watch you online. If you're just doing the same shit as everybody else, you're like everybody else. There's no reason to pick you. There's no answer for why you. So again, don't pick what's popular. Pick what's going to make you stand out. And I'm not saying you got to wear a big green hat or you got to do dancing videos. No. I'm not saying you got to step out and be somebody you're not. Be you. But remember this, there are 3 types of realtors. We got the chaotic realtor who runs around like a chicken with their heads cut off, spends a whole bunch of money trying to do deals, probably does a bunch of deals, but totally chaotic, no rhyme or reason, and has so much opportunity to do more. It's probably most realtors. You've got the bookworm who is always studying, researching, looking, trying, figuring out, asking questions, but never does shit. You're getting passed by. And of course, you got the organized realtor. The one who totally understands what they got to do in a day, operates to a schedule, completes more than most people do in a day. They get more done in a day than most people do in a week. And they're constantly got a pipeline that's full. And yes, it feels like there's a lot to do in a day, and there's always more to do in a day. But there's control, there's organization, and that organization leads to more opportunity, leads to more closing deals, leads to more success overall. So obviously, your actions, you want to be the organized realtor. But again, as you're doing these things, you've got to think to yourself, and as you're looking for answers and you're looking for solutions to help you right now, check your budget. Ask yourself if it's a Band-Aid fix. Set a timeline. If you need help, ask for it. And don't just do what other people are doing. Do what's going to work for you. Again, this is how we're going to win right now. This is how we're going to take advantage of a market that's really not doing what we want it to do. Now, speaking about what's good for you, I think over the past couple podcasts, I know for sure one of them, I had mentioned to you about me possibly reducing the frequency of this show. I mentioned about possibly stopping the show. And wow. I am I'm humbled. I'm grateful. I'm happy. The feedback that I've been getting from you has been so incredibly supportive. Like, yo, people are actually listening to this show. But seriously, I know people are listening to this show. Look, we've been ranked, and I think recently we were ranked number 6 of the top 40 real estate podcasts across North America. We rank in the top 2% globally for consistency, content, listenership. We've been recognized by many across the industry. People know the show. I mean, even standing at Realtor Quest in person the other day at a trade show, people were walking by don't cancel the podcast. And I'm like, holy shit, I never met you in my life before. And if you're one of those people, I thank you for walking by and saying that. You have no idea how good that feels. From the text message I got, to the social media, DMs that I've received from people, to, again, people walking by me at the show, to the emails I've received. Like, no joke. People angry at me for even thinking about doing that. Angry in a loving way. Seriously, I can't thank you enough. Like, look, we know our numbers. We know people are listening. Okay, we know that people are listening. We see the rankings. We see the feedback. All of it proves that the show is having an impact. All of it proves that there is an audience. So, Dave, what the hell, man? Why are you even thinking about this? Well, just like I continue to encourage you to continue to look at your business and figure out what you can do to make it better, we're always looking to see where can we make changes in our business to see how we can improve. And at this moment, I mean, you're all so adamant about not changing or not getting rid of it. And I can't thank you enough. That seriously, it means a ton to me. And look, if you're a regular listener and you heard me talk about that last time, or if this is your first time listening and you're hearing me talk about it now, but you're enjoying the show, please, I ask you, please keep those texts coming. Please keep those DMs coming. Please keep those emails coming. If you see me in person, tell me about it. It means a ton to me, but that's the thing about a podcast. As there is no guest today, it is me in the studio with a microphone. You're not even here. I mean, with me right now. So sometimes you don't know who's listening, and you don't know how often they're listening. You don't know what their feedback is. And, we ask you all the time to leave a rating and review the show. And I would very blatantly ask you about that right now. If you could take a moment to go to iTunes, go to Spotify, review the show, rate it. We'd love to hear from you. Send me a direct message. Let me know what you think or what your thoughts are on frequency or content, or do you like the solo episodes? Do you like the guest episodes? And I'll tell you, I love doing the guest episodes. Some great guests. We've been so fortunate. I really like these solos too. But your feedback means the world to me. See, for my time right now in our business with the growth and just everything we're doing, we need to figure something out. And business is about constant evolution. It's about maximizing efforts to get the results that we want. It's nice to know that people are listening. And yes, of course, part of the reason for the show is to turn you, our audience members, from just listeners to getting actively involved and being part of our Mindshare community. And as you continue to see value from the show, just think about how much more impactful this could all be to you if we actually work together one-on-one on a consistent basis. I mean, is it crazy to think that your business will see a lift in results? Of course it's not. Hands down, 100% you will begin to see that more opportunities are coming your way, more deals are getting closed, and overall you're going to earn a higher GCI year over year because of the work we do together. It just hands down, it's going to happen. I am committed to that. See, this show is meant to be an extension of the value that we deliver here. It's meant to support our efforts. And it's those phone calls, those meetings, and those steps that we take together which really ends up fast-tracking your success. So you can listen to the show on a regular. I ask you, keep coming back, please. As we work together, we move faster. Now, I will tell you, the idea to stop or reduce frequency, it's still on the table. So I ask you, if you haven't reached out yet, like so many of you have already, we'd really love to hear from you. Email me, david@mindshare101.com. Even faster, DM me on Instagram, davidgreenspan101. Either tell me your thoughts about the show or see about setting up a free Explorer call to talk about, one-on-one coaching and what it would look like to work together. And I'll also throw it out there that, and let you know that we offer the best group training marketing, the best group training, which is a marketing and sales program in the entire real estate industry. We teach you how to actually run a business, how to build a ton of mind share so you get more market share, and how to sell the shit out of your competition. It's called Momentum Training. We can either deliver it live to your office or virtually. So get in touch if you're a broker, an owner, a manager, or please tell your broker, tell your managers they know to get in touch with us. It's another way of you and I working more closely together to help your business grow. So look, as we sort of close off, okay? Slow doesn't mean stop. So yeah, the market's slow, but that doesn't mean stop. You need to keep going. And tight doesn't mean dead. Okay, so a quiet market isn't your excuse to up and disappear. Think about this, okay? Your move rate controls your close rate. If you're not moving, neither is your business. Okay, the more you move, the more conversations you have. The more conversations you have, the more trust you build. The more trust you build, the more opportunity you create. That opportunity leads to deals. So here's your challenge this week. Number one, go in and audit your pipeline. Okay? Go through and ask yourself, who haven't I been in touch with? Who do I need to be in touch with? Revive those conversations. Try building one micro campaign for buyers or sellers. Think about the timeliness of that, right? Try talking to, say 10 people who haven't heard from you in a while. And of course, connect with me to discuss coaching and or training. This market's not going to create momentum for you. You have to create it for yourself. So look, yeah, the market's slow. Phones aren't ringing like they used to, and no, deals aren't falling into your lap right now. But that doesn't mean you stop moving. Instead, it means you double down. It means you talk to more people. It means you reset your strategy. It means you keep showing up even when it feels like no one's paying attention. Because the truth is, someone out there is going to get the listing. Someone's going to write the offer. Somebody's going to stay top of mind, and they're going to get the call when the client's finally ready. So why shouldn't that be you? Do not wait for this market to move. Be the reason that it moves. If this episode gave you any clarity, maybe it fired you up, do me a favor. I hope it fired you up, but do me a favor. Share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Leave us a review. Grab your free Ultimate Marketing Bundle on MindShare101.com. And until next time, keep building the mind share, because that's how you earn the market share.